Prickly to Sweet is excited to have her collaborate with us on this webinar for advanced level. Introducing Carmel. Take it away, Carmel.
Thank you very much. And hello, everyone. It's really nice to be here with you all today and to have this conversation. And the discussion that I'm hoping to have today is about, in relation to the transition to the revised standards that we were just talking about in our chat earlier, why I think your quality management system doesn't need a rebuild. It needs a strategic renovation. And I'm hoping in this conversation today that I can reframe the quality management system narrative. There's a couple of messages that I'm hoping to get across in this discussion. The first one being, I think generally it's a waste of time rebuilding your quality management systems when you should actually be activating them, because you've already got the bones there, you've got the infrastructure. It's about renovating. And true transformation comes from precision upgrades, not policy rewrites. So I'm going to unpack 5 strategic renovations with you all today. That's going to activate assurance and build capability. So I also hope that, you know, the 5 strategic renovations that I'm going to cover are going to elevate your quality management systems from a passive framework to the performance engine that you all need to transition successfully.
Cool. Now, before you get started and before I start sharing the screen so we can get started, this is again a 20-minute session. This is an advanced session related to compliance. We do hold beginner and intermediate sessions as well. This is focused on that higher level governance sort of level of your RTO and understanding those parts. This session is being recorded, and to get the recording and the transcript after, you will be able to access PDAble, which we'll also start be sending out invitations to, and you have to be here till the end to be able to get it.
Okay, so we've got slide number 1, which is about the first renovation I would suggest we should consider. That's essentially beginning with your QMS. And a strong and robust quality management system begins with those policies that are functional, not ornamental. So your policies need to drive your action. They're about the why you're doing the thing that you're doing. They're not there just to, well, they don't sit on shelves anymore, but if they're just existing in your, you know, your document management systems, well, then they're not doing anything. Have a look at the policies you've got that are existing, look at where you can rebuild them and realign them to the revised standards, and make sure they reflect the intent of each standard, that they just don't tick a compliance box. You'll all be aware by now, in the outcome standards in particular, that governance has been strengthened. There's much more accountability built in relation to leadership in the standards. So, you know, your controls really need to clarify the roles in your organisation and your structure. So it's really clear how you make your decisions and where accountability sits. And just remember that your compliance document should trigger your practices, not just preserve them. Really happy to take any comments or questions as we're going through each renovation. We can move on to number 2. And looking at this one, this is why we exist. This is why we do what we do. It's all about the learners. So think about your quality management system and holistically your self-assurance model, and redesign it for your learners, because their outcomes are now the compliance currency. And you would know, again, in the revised standards, it very much now speaks to quality and those outcomes. So if our quality management systems are not answering the question, is our learners, or are our learners improving? What is their experience like? Then the system is cosmetic, and we don't want something that's superficial. We want a dynamic self-assurance approach to this. So the critical thing, I think, is building your feedback loops, not just at the very end of delivery or at the end of your study blocks, for example. You want to have touch points throughout. So gathering that feedback, getting that input and using it for continuous improvement needs to be systematic. Okay, Reno number 3. So make self-assurance the operating system, the OS, operating system. So the best RTOs don't prepare for audit. They live in a state of assurance. And that's what it's all about. So when it's embedded in your daily operations, it lifts your performance, reduces stress, and future-proofs your practice. And that's where self-assurance comes from. It's that confidence that you have in your systems, processes, and your overall approach to self-assurance. Upgrade data into intelligence. So we've all got systems and technology and platforms now that give us very valuable data. And this data should be used to drive your decisions. No system can outperform the people running it, however. So if we use, for example, Prickly to Suites systems, Vanessa's got one for validation that is extremely useful, and validation, as you would all know, is a critical part of the outcomes standards now, and pre-use validation of assessment tools is mandatory. It was always implied in the current standards, but now it's actually spelled out that we must do it. So using that data of validation outcomes is really, really important and part of your continuous improvement, but it drives your self-assurance approach. Similarly, Vanessa, you've got your qual system that provides data on trainer file compliance or trainer mapping. So again, that's really valuable data that aligns to your RTO scope of registration and the resources that you have to be able to deliver all the units that you've got on scope. Use that data to your advantage. And the last one, number 5, build capability, not compliance fatigue. This is really, really critical now in the outcome standards in the vet workforce quality area. Capability is very much being called out there, and professional development now is a requirement. Not just for trainers and assessors, but for the whole of the vet workforce. So RTOs need to have an approach whereby you are planning and providing professional development for your workforce. So it's important that you build the capability within your organisation to supercharge your quality management system and get that understanding and those skills within your vet workforce, which will also ensure that you've got accountability at every level, because it's not just your quality team's responsibility. Quality is everyone's business in regards to, you know, transitioning to these revised standards and also self-assurance in general. The thing I do want to emphasise too is that the final 2 renovations in particular will elevate your quality management system, you know, just from being a static collection of documents to, you know, performance by making the intelligence that you glean from it actionable and capability systemic. That's what you really, really want. So my message that I really want to emphasise to you all today is that you don't need a rebuild to transition to the standards. You need renovations that reinforce the intent. You need redesign for impact. And you need to embed self-assurance into the DNA of your business. So if you consider these 5 dynamic shifts, they're going to help you transform your quality management system from a static compliance framework into a dynamic engine for quality. And quality is the operative word now in the revised standards.
I love the fact that it's in 5 easy things to consider. I have a couple of questions, but if you all, everybody who's on the meeting today, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will ask through them. My first question would be, in your experience, which you have had a significant amount, as Michelle also said in the introduction, what would you say was the biggest barrier of or to compliance and quality at that senior level?
I think business imperatives, and I think probably what's standing out to me at the moment anyway is, you know, the old conflict between compliance and commerciality. And when I talk about, you know, business imperatives, it's, you know, RTOs trying to stay afloat and trying to focus on, you know, the day-to-day operations, and sometimes compliance, well, not sometimes, a lot of the time, compliance can be seen as a burden, particularly if we look at it with that compliance-driven lens. What I really want to try to get across is, it can, particularly with the transition, because it's the biggest regulatory change in 10 years, right? And there's been a lot of reform in the vet sector. So I really want to try to assure, RTOs, you don't need to be overwhelmed. You have things already there that you can repurpose, in your organisation. Some are really concerned and really scared and really worried, and don't want it to seem as scary as what it might for some.
Yeah, fear is definitely almost replacing the word compliance. It's all fearful or concerned, or it's a worry. And I agree with you. I think it's that mindset that needs to be changed, changing it from that regulatory mindset to, and this is actually a cultural thing. We actually have to change the culture. We keep the processes we already have, like you've said in your presentation. We'll renovate those things to accommodate any specific changes. But if they start changing the culture associated with compliance and quality, that will have a bigger impact. Cool. I think that's really good. So what would be one thing that a champion in an organization could be saying or sharing today to the team that would actually lead them down this direction?
I think, the message is just, stay calm, don't panic, be confident about what you already have, and that, you are already best placed to do this. Really focus on, like I mentioned, that capability aspect is building within your workforce the knowledge and the skills and the confidence, and use all the information that's available in this type of professional development that we're doing today, and lean on your mentors, lean on those that are in the know, and just get in there and make a start and do it, and you'll figure it out.
I agree with you. I think if they come together as a team and go, okay, these are things we actually are doing okay. This is not everything out and brand new. These are the things we're doing okay. Let's risk assess the stuff that we're not doing. Let's stay calm and be aware of maybe some changes to occur. And this is actually a good opportunity maybe to refresh and spruce up and think of it like the renovation.
And that's really great advice, because risk assessing and using that risk-based approach is how you cut through the overwhelm. You cannot audit everything, you cannot check everything. Use a risk-based approach, identify things that are high risk, focus on that, and take it from there.
Yeah, and wouldn't you agree that it's not just one person's job? Like you said in one of those slides about the compliance person.
Well, it is everyone's business.
Everybody's stuff. So actually start filtering down some roles and responsibilities and going, hey, how are you going? Checking in, I think, is always a good thing too. I know in some of the organizations that we have on the page here, some of them are really small. And if you're small by yourself, you can check in with others. And that's where I'll just get you, Carmel, to quickly identify the type of services that you provide and other professional development. Because Prick Litter Suite are doing these little sessions, but this isn't where we sit most of the time. And we know there are a lot of providers out there providing a lot of PD. So Carmel, just tell everybody the sorts of things that you do.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for that, Vanessa. So my services, I provide a monthly service whereby an RTO can work with me on that basis, and I essentially will coach you through. I give you all my resources, I give you the framework, I'm your guide on the side, and that's what I do. And also I have some online courses that I'm about to release, focused on self-assurance. I've got one for renewal of registration, and I'm going to have one for the transition to the revised standards. So the professional development offerings that I provide is my goal to empower RTOs who may not quite have the confidence to be able to do it themselves, but just need that little bit of support, and that's what I'm hoping to do with that.
Awesome, Carmel. Thank you very much. Now, we invited Carmel because she does some amazing posts. So if you're not already following Carmel and us, make sure you do so on LinkedIn. She has some great posts with some really quick information that is very beneficial to everybody. So other than that, I know there's just one thing I wanted else for Carmel to tell you, and that is you're dropping a little gifty, aren't you?
I've got a free download for everyone, and I'll get Vanessa to upload that into, what is it, Vanessa?
PD Able.
She'll upload it there for you all to access, and you can download it from that platform. But it's a transition map, so it's a little bit of a guide to help you sort of get your bearings and just sense check whether you're on the right path to transitioning to the revised standards. And yeah, feel free to use that and reach out to me if you need any help or advice after it.
Thank you so much, Carmel, for your time. Has anybody got any other questions to grab Carmel's moment in time that you're burning with desire to ask? And you're not going to say no. Oh, well,
you
I
all
hope
look all calm and collected.
That's what we want. By all means, always reach out to Carmel anyway on LinkedIn and the other platforms that she's on. Again, another great quick 20-minute session on PD at this level. Thank you, Hannah's Workshop, and Hannah and Caitlin and Sarah and Steve. And I think Kelly had to go out for a fire drill. Have a great rest of the week. Stay tuned for our next sessions. We'll send out what we're doing beginner, intermediate, and advanced very shortly. Thank you. Bye for now.